Hey kids, Mr. Fly here, hope you're well and welcome back to Bike News for September 2019. This is part 2. If you haven't seen part 1, you might want to go back and watch that first because this is a continuation. I've got 2 more newspapers to go through with the latest updates on bike news from here in the UK. So if you're interested in that, stick around and stay tuned. Okay, so let's crack on then. I've got 5 stories in each paper to go through here, and these are a bit more up to date. I can't remember exactly what I've marked up here, which is why I marked them up, but let's see what we got. Okay, first off, oh yeah, CB1100 gets racy cafe makeover. Now this is really interesting to me because this is the Honda CB1100 has been taken by Guy Willison, who, you may recall, is Henry Cole's mate, who he calls Skid. So Guy was the guy that worked with Henry Cole and came up with the street version of the Norton Commando, which coincidentally, Henry Cole let me ride the prototype of that, and that's a video that's coming up soon. Anyway, they did a lovely job on that bike, and Guy has now worked his magic on the Honda, creating what they call the CB1100RS. It does actually, the back end looks a little bit similar to that Norton. He obviously likes that kind of look. But what a beautiful looking machine. In terms of you know what it's all about, it's 88.5 brake horsepower based on the CB1100RS. There's only going to be 54 made, and it's going to be £15,554, which seems again like a very good value for a a bespoke bike. Well, bespoke-ish. 54 made. That's a that is definitely a limited edition, and to knock them out at 15.5 grand, I think it's pretty good. So if you like the cafe racer look and you like 4-cylinder retro Hondas, then it's definitely worth checking this out, I think. So it's just being known as the 5.4 Special Edition, I think. But yeah, very nice indeed. What else can I say about it? Takes about, deliveries are expected to take around 3 months. And it's saying if it's anything like the Norton Commando that Guy was involved in, they're going to sell out in no time. So yeah, if you're interested in one of those, get down to your Honda dealer. That's where you can buy them, put your order in. Get an order in pronto if they're not already all sold out. All right, second story. This is amazing. Guy hits a record. So this is Guy Martin. He's done 270.96 miles per hour on a standing mile. So 300 miles an hour he hit, but that was the average over a couple of runs on his own bike. Absolutely incredible. You may remember last year, I think it was, he was due to make an attempt at the land speed record on a Triumph powered motorcycle at Bonneville Salt Flats, I think it was, and it had 2 rocket engines in, I think, and for various reasons that didn't come off. So he's obviously got the taste for speed records and has gone out and done this, it sounds like, off his own bat. I don't know if there's a TV program off the back of it or what. There often is, but in this case I don't think so. He's prepared his own bike, it's this streamliner affair, and done 270 miles per hour on average. Absolutely incredible. The bike puts out 830 brake horsepower. It's based on a Suzuki Hayabusa. Absolutely incredible. I mean, what a beast it looks, and well, that man is a brave fella, isn't he? Imagine doing that sort of speed on a motorcycle. Just incredible. Anyway, okay, so well done, Guy, for that, and if there is a TV program, that'd be very interesting to watch. So there we go. Right, next up, the MCN 250. I'm always saying how much I like this feature, where they always ride the same routes to compare bikes accurately on the same sorts of roads, and sometimes they do dual tests. Here, they're doing a Scrambler test, and again, I'm a big fan of Scramblers. I mentioned in part 1 that I like Scramblers, and also mentioned in part 1 this new SWM Scrambler. In fact, there's one here, what they pitted against here is the Fantic Caballero 500 Scrambler against the SWM Ace of Spades version of their Scrambler. They both look fantastic. I have ridden the Fantic, I haven't ridden the SWM, I haven't published my video on the Fantic yet, so stick around to the channel if you're interested in Scramblers too. That video will be coming up soon. But they've ridden them both across their 250 mile circuit, not mile an hour. And what is the result? Well, they've said the Fantic Caballero, which costs $6,399, they're giving that 4 out of 5, and the SWM only 2 out of 5. So that, for an MCN review, is a pretty low score, actually. So in this test, the Fantic absolutely panned the SWM. Let me have a quick look and see if I can see what the problem with the SWM is. Well, according to the article here, John Urry here said the SWM feels cheap with a lack of refinement counting against it, rather than giving it character. It misfired apparently, and it just feels like a basic bike, whereas the Fantic feels like it's been crafted. And I agree, when I rode the Fantic, one of the things that really impressed me, again, it's not an expensive bike, 6,399 as I say, it just looks beautifully made. It's the fit and finish of it is lovely. So that's interesting. They didn't rate the SWM. I'm quite keen to have a go on the SWM Scrambler because I think it looks good, but we'll see. If I get a go on it, we'll see if I come to the same conclusion. Alrighty, fourth story in here. Oh yeah, not so much the story that I want to talk to you about here, but do you recognise the face of this fella here? There's an article here about 1 year on with a Suzuki GSX S1000, and this guy here is a friend of the channel, Ian Owens. I say friend of the channel, he's the guy that did the detailing on my street triple recently. Do you remember that? He didn't mention he was going to be in MCN. No, he saw him a couple of weeks ago. In fact, I've exchanged an email with him today. So yeah, the cheeky old devil. So well done, Ian, at getting your bike in MCN. It looks absolutely amazing, of course, but no doubt he's detailed it. Go and check out my my video on what he did on my street triple, and you see the amazing work that he does. The company's called Pristine Detailing that he operates, and he can do amazing things even with older bikes. Not this is particularly old, of course. So do go and check out that video and check out what Ian does. But yeah, his bike's looking lovely, and well done, Ian, for getting in the paper. So just noticed that in passing, thought that was great when I recognised his face peering out at me. Okay, so that's it for the first paper for part 2. The next one, what have we got here? Ah yes, down here in the bottom right here, Let's All Get Junk is the headline. Again, this is my old pal Henry Cole. He's got a brand new TV show on. I don't know if you know about it. It's called Junk and Disorderly, which I think is a fantastic name for a TV programme. It's on at 8 PM on Mondays on ITV4 from September the 30th. So that's this coming Monday. In fact, tonight. Might be on now while you're watching this. 10-part series, and he's working alongside Sam Lovegrove, who's the guy that he worked with before on the Motorcycle Show and other of his shows. Sam is an absolute nutter when it comes to motorcycles. Lovely guy. I've not met him. I hope to one day. But anyway, new programme coming on there, as I say, 8 PM on Mondays. Do check that out. I'll be watching that for sure. Just thought I'd mention that in passing. Okay, sorry if you're not in the UK. Obviously, you won't be able to see that just yet, or that might crop up on some weird and wonderful channel. Right, next thing, and this is massive news as far as I'm concerned, the Africa Twin has had an upgrade. It says here, Africa Twin gets boost. Now, the bike's been around for a while, but it's about to get, not long awaited, but it is going to get an overdue, perhaps, update, in that the bike has for 2020 has been made more powerful, lighter, and easier to ride. What's not to like about that? That's all good stuff, isn't it? So they've changed the styling of it a little bit. The front end looks a little bit different to me, but it looks amazing. The big thing for me, what they've done, is that if you remember, there's two versions. There's the normal Africa Twin, and then there's the Africa Twin Adventure Sport. I've ridden them both. I've been lucky enough to do so. I loved the Adventure Sport, but for me, it was just a bit too tall and a bit too heavy. Well, certainly too tall, and that was because it was the more off-road focused bike. Well, Honda have swapped that around now and made the standard bike more road focused, and the Adventure Sport more of a adventure tourer type bike, which is great news. So I can't wait to have a go on it again and see what the improvements are. So some of the things I've highlighted here, they've said that the engine is bigger and smoother. It's now putting out it's a 1084cc unit now. It's had a power boost from 94 bhp to just over 100 brake horsepower, which gives it a 6% increase in torque as well, so that's useful. It's got a new electronics package, 6-axis Bosch IMU, so it's going to have the lean angle sensitive ABS and traction control, great news. Brand new chassis as well, been totally redesigned. The front end's had a restyle, as I mentioned. The whole bike is 5 kilograms lighter. It's always good to make bikes lighter. And in terms of cost, the stock bike 11 grand, the Adventure Sport 12 grand. The other thing that they've done is added this really nice looking TFT. Actually, it looks properly business-like on the Honda. It used to have an LCD display, which was looking a little bit dated now. So yeah, the new TFT on here looks great as well. So I think that's going to absolutely fly out of the dealers. I think everybody who rides these says that they're great bikes. I haven't heard anyone say anything bad about the Africa Twin. It really is a top-notch bike. So yeah, definitely worth checking out if you're in the market for an adventure bike, particularly for me, that Adventure Sport bike, which was a lovely bike to ride. It really was, and great value for money. If it does come out at 12 grand, that's with all the bells and whistles. That's great value for that sort of bike, I think. Okay, next story. Long way up goes electric. Now this is incredible, caused a big stir when this broke cover last week. This of course is our friends Charlie and Ewan have been talking about doing a new series for ages, haven't they? And they're going to be doing the tip of America, or South America, up to the top of Alaska. And they're going to be doing it on modified electric Harley Davidson live wires. Now this is incredible. They did it of course famously on BMW GSs before, and some credit them with basically not starting the adventure bike movement, but definitely boosting it, definitely boosting GS sales. So for Harley to have them doing it on their electric bike is just an incredible scoop. I don't know how they came to end up doing that particular deal. I noticed at the end of the article it says Harley Davidson declined to comment on the project, which makes me think that maybe they're not they're not so up for it as you would think, because you think bike manufacturers would be falling over themselves to get bikes to Charlie New and given the success of the last series. So really interesting. Of course, the big thing with electric bikes is range anxiety, and they're going to be doing a lot of miles. So this has a range of the Livewire of around 100 miles. So that'd be waiting for it to charge far more than they would actually be riding it. So interesting to note that they're going to be travelling with Claudio, that's their cameraman that they used before, so there's 3 of them actually doing it, but they're going to be travelling with a support crew, which include a pair of Rivian electric pickups, which will help them recharge en route. And somebody told me, I don't know if it's true or not, that there's actually going to be generators or something on board those, so that they can have some bikes charging while they're riding other bikes. I'm not sure if that's true or not, but it sounds sensible. Of course, it does make the whole support crew, and the fact that they're getting the bikes charged as they go, if that is in fact, does make a bit of a mockery of the whole long distance travel thing, because of course a normal person without all that stuff couldn't do it. But at the same time, they are making a TV program, they've got to be practical. If they can shorten the amount of time to do the trip, then why not? So really interesting to see how this goes. I assume these electric bikes are quite heavy, so if they start doing things like deep river crossings with all that electric about, how does that work? So all sorts of questions. So it's going to make for a very interesting TV program, I think. It's going to take them at least a couple of months to do, it says here. I don't know when we're going to see the TV program, but I assume it'll be next year. But yeah, doing it on Harley Davidson electric bikes, it's just, I mean, number one, an electric Harley is a bizarre thing, isn't it? And number two, actually doing a big adventure like this on them. Incredible. So hats off to them. Let's see how they get on. Maybe they'll see Itchy Boots Norley on the way, because I'm sure she'll fly past on her Royal Enfield Himalayan. Alrighty, next story here. When speed meets comfort. Now, this is interesting to me, because this bike here, the BMW R1250RS, is the very bike, I think. This actual one is in my garage as we speak. I'm doing a long-term test on this myself at the moment. I only picked it up from BMW UK this week, and I'm really loving the RS. And in this review, in their MCN 250 review, they've pit it against the Kawasaki Z1000 SX. So the Beamer is 12,100, Kawasaki 10,200. So the Beamer is quite a lot more expensive, and that is before it's had any additional options added. As you know, BMW love the old options tick list. By the time you've gone down the tick list, you can probably add another couple of grand to that, I would imagine. Anyway, what do they come out with after doing the test? Let's go to the verdict. The R1250RS got 4 out of 5 stars, and the Kawasaki 3 out of 5. But you've got to factor in the fact that the Kawasaki is considerably cheaper, as I say. They're basically saying here, when you read the review or the summary, that the RS is just better all round. It's smoother, faster, nicer. But don't be put off the Kawasaki, because it's such good value. You get an awful lot for your money with the Kawasaki. But when you look at, when you compare individual items like MCN have done, if you look at like the clocks, for example, the BMW's got that beautiful TFT I'm always raving about. The Kawasaki does look dated now. It looks like a Casio watch from the 1980s or something. So I'm not surprised the RS has won, but don't discount the Kawasaki, given it's so much cheaper. Alrighty, how are we doing? Right, better wrap up very shortly. Last story I picked out here is this. Yes, another big story from last week or the week before. Yamaha R1M gets a host of updates for 2020, but is it worth 22 grand is what the question is. Yamaha make the best even better. It is a lovely bike, the R1. I think pretty much everyone agreed last year that it was currently the best sports bike. I personally like the Panigale V4, but then I'm just a Ducati fanboy. I also love the BMW, and also love this, so it's difficult. The BMW, actually, I thought was the best bike, but I've not ridden the brand new R1. I don't know if I'm going to get a chance, but rather than dwell on the bike here, it's just the point that it's 22 grand for a sports bike that is now so super performant. Unless you're really good at track days, you're not going to, this isn't a bike to buy for the road. It's really only going to be track day people that buy this bike, really, if you want to get anything like its performance out of it. So I just wonder how many they're likely to sell. You've got to be pretty much a track god to get the best out of it, and it's 22 grand. How many track day fans are there that have got 22 grand to splurge? Now, there will be some wealthy individuals that can do that, and that's great. Well done to them. Go ahead, fill your boots, enjoy. But generally speaking, not many of us, I think, have got that sort of money to spend on a track day bike. It does look beautiful, and I'd love a go on one if I ever get the chance, but my word, that's a lot of money, isn't it, for a bike that really you can't tap into on the road. Alright, I'd be really interested in your views on all the stories I've covered on this month's bike news, so do stick me any comments down below. If this is the first time you've been to my channel, I don't just do bike news here on Listen and Fly, but I do reviews of bikes and kit, I do trips and tours at home and abroad, I do the odd live stream every month, I go to bike meetings. Basically, I try and keep the content as varied as I can. Anything and everything, if it's to do with motorcycles, I'll try and cover it here on the Listen and Fly. If you haven't already subscribed, do hit the subscribe button below. It'd be great to have you along, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Alright, until then, this has been the Listen and Fly. Cheerio.